Is it clear from certain levels of consciousness that one shouldn't communicate with certain beings?
Well, if you're involved in, let's say, transformation practices, where you are creatively working with early life neuroses and issues relative to your personality, things you like, you don't like, people you like, or you don't like, and going through that sort of evolution from, let's say, childhood to adolescence. As you reach the pubescent level, some things are going to be intensified, other things are going to be dropped. So at every subsequent metamorphosis episode of change or transformation, as you evolve from, let's say, childhood to adulthood, depending on how you're spending your life, or if we're talking about spiritual practices, what kind of techniques you're using, then things, because of the changes the techniques bring about, are going to alter your interest, going to alter what you like and what you don't like, or what you need. You may need chocolate cake when you're young, and then you might, need pizza later on, or you might need another kind of food subsequent to that. Depends on the changes you are willing to undergo in your metamorphosis. Say, moving from a worm to a butterfly, let's say, caterpillar to a butterfly. See? And so things are going to automatically disappear, see? Because they're all relatively sort of, organized for a certain part of your journey. And then when you reach a certain age or stage, you may not be interested in baseball anymore. You might go into soccer. You want to see people kicking each other. So that comes with time by itself. And when we're talking about spiritual purification, then we're talking about being social initially in the beginning, and then what happens is you experience purification or the burn-off, then you might find that you need less people and you need to go inside more. And then what happens, then you tune out the outside and tune in the inside, and then you start to see a different universe, which is always there. It's not good or bad, but when you shut the eyes, other eyes open. And you start seeing things you may be ready for. Some people see things they're not ready for, so they have what may be called nightmarish episodes. They're not ready in a certain way, but they see it because a part of them is ready for the good or bad news or the shock that brings about. But everything, ultimately, in terms of enlightenment practice, has to be understood as appearances only, and part of the peeling of the onion, going back to zero, pure essence, let us call it, the spiritual factor. Not just the material and the social and the egoic, and then the sexual, the emotional, or the causal in terms of memories. We have to get beyond all of that, so that what the final analysis is stillness. Stillness. And then that's a step. Until when you're okay just being still. That's the beginning point. And when you get beyond that, then that becomes a new beginning point. To the infinite. And then it may come to pass that after so many layers of peeling into stillness, that may start a cycle again of movement from stillness, beyond stillness. And then it's born of stillness, and that might be a completely other evolution.
So, in terms of sound or silence, what is that? How does that play a role in terms of what you were just talking about?
Well, sound is part of your existence, your ears. Silence is part of your existence in terms of your heart.
So, would you equate stillness with silence? Would they be?
Could be.
One the same, or
It could be. Sound can make you still. You attend to sound. Jazz can make you still. You know, you can stop and focus on your favorite jazz musicians momentarily. Because you need to absorb that, you need to relate to that, you need to process it. Or something they're doing, perhaps. See, so it's part of the creative, let's say, situation. Until you were talking about radical stillness, where you don't need stimulation. That's also a stage. And you move into an openness to deeper meditative states of stillness as a form of restfulness, recovery, recreation. It may be part of your spiritual unfoldment into a higher state of realization, higher reality, where you start experiencing nobody, not just your self body, your personal body, but you start experiencing the nobody, which everyone is the nobody. You go to sleep every night, you're involved in not so much realizing, but having to deal with unconsciousness, no oneness, which is a step on the path. Without it, you don't have consciousness. It's part of the balance.